Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have the keynote session on Future of CX in the Next Decade. For this keynote, won't you please help me welcome VP Customer 360 Platform Development Enterprise Digital and Data Solution, American Express, Mr. Anmol Handa. Handa is a seasoned product leader and analytics executive with track record of creating amazing data products, leading large global teams, and building innovative industry solutions using advanced analytics and data science. We warmly welcome Mr. Handa. Please.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, I must have covered a lot of things that I wanted to cover, actually. Okay, let's understand the future of customer experience in next decade, at least from my perspective. Move on to the next slide. Can we move on to the next slide? Okay. All right. So I wanted to paint a picture using some numbers. These are global stats. I don't have India-specific stats, but I do have global stats. The first key stat is 86% of the customers that Amex has are willing to pay more based on the customer experience they have. Now, that is a phenomenal number. But you could debate that saying, hey, the customer base you have is already pretty prime, and maybe that drives this number forward. Which brings me to the next number. 32% of existing customers across industries will go away from a brand with one bad experience. Because remember, good service is appreciated, but bad service is something that sticks with you. It damages a brand. Reputations built over years are lost with one poor customer experience. Third is a very interesting insight. And as I was researching for this presentation, actually, I found this number, so I wanted to put it to light. The customers of tomorrow are the Gen Z population. And some of these people, even though they are already onboarded into the ecosystem, they are quickly forming loyalties. The loyalties for the millennial population is broadly formed across some of the industries. For Gen Zers, it is a critical time. You can get them in through the door and make them a lifetime customer. There is broad consensus in the industry, especially when it comes to global conglomerates. More than 96% of senior leadership believes customer experience is critical to the success of the organization. It goes without saying. And lastly, probably the most important number, the global customer experience technology spending for the year 2022 is predicted to be $641 billion. I like that sink in. There's a lot of money and a lot of investment is being put into being built for customer experiences. Customer experience is no longer a marketing function. It is essentially a technology function. Okay, let's understand how customers think about experience today. Okay, so the generation of today, because we live in this rapid digitization, transformation era, patience is a virtue basically. Nobody is patient. Instant gratification is what everyone seeks. And so, for example, and this is something that has happened to me pretty recently, actually. I had a potential fraud transaction on my account with a banking provider. And I called them up, spoke to the CCP, explained everything, said, hey, here is who I am, here is my last 4 digits of my card number, this is the validation, this is the whole scenario, could you please help me? The person said, sure, sir, give me a minute. I said, okay, and I lost network. I called up again, a different CCP picked it up. I went through the entire journey again. And then the CCP said, hey, this is something we can't assist you with. We can transfer it to the fraud division. My call got transferred to the fraud division. The person at the other end of the call again asked for the same details. I again explained everything. And then they said, okay, give us a week. Here is the ticket number. Reach us back. I said, okay. In 1 week from then, I used the chat on my internet savings account. And I said, hey, here is the ticket number, could you please assist me? the response I got was, we can't fetch details. What happened? Could you please give us a call on this number? I again gave a call. This kept on happening for about 15, 20 days. Eventually, nothing got resolved, but I just let go of the money. But the point is, 3 months after that, I wanted to open a demat account. Okay? Now, my current banking partner was a potential solution, but the thought that I had was, hey, I've had one experience. I don't know if something was wrong. What would that happen? What would that be? Could I look for another position, another partner? So you see, one experience just led me, all cross-selling and upselling opportunities for the business were lost because of experience. Another thing that really, annoyed me was I had to give the ticket number every time. Why? You have my phone, you capture so many of my details, you don't know who's this person, right? You expect me to remember 16-digit ticket number, note it down in a copy and pull it up every time I talk to somebody. Things like these are very minor things, but really go a long way when it comes to customer experience. Okay, now let's understand the key challenges that we have. The first and foremost one is probably the lack of an embedded ecosystem. The lack of enterprise-wide capabilities that span multiple customer journeys. And I think this is something that Nitin also pointed out, which is, now remember, when I talk the CCP on the banking side, and the next call that I did, I had to go through it again. Why? All the information should have been available with the CCP. When I talked to the fraud division, I was treated like it was as if I'm talking to a new company. As an end customer, I'm talking to the same company. I'm not speaking to a BU. Right? The second critical aspect is the lack of a centralized data asset. And this is especially for some of the large global conglomerates or even some of the legacy organizations. Because what happened basically was data came up as a support function. At the beginning of 2000s or something, a couple of decades back, companies and enterprises realized the value of capturing data and using data to drive strategies. And so, but what happened was this data was a support function, and then say market developed their own databases. In the financial space, risk teams did their own databases, operations, sales, servicing. Everyone has their own databases. Every business unit has their own database. The fraud business unit will have its own database. The demat account would have its own database. The retail banking division will have its own database. Nobody's talking to each other. We lie in the same ecosystem, right? And this is something that is being actively addressed, and this is actually something that I specialize in. I build the centralized data asset for American Express Global. Yeah, the third thing is, yes, all of this talk is nice, and everyone understands. It's fairly obvious. We should have an integrated experience. We should have centralized assets. We should have a great experience for our end, agents. But when it comes to planning, as we are in the last quarter of the year, we are planning for next year. There are 500 things I need to do. And when it comes to planning, often I have to select the top 50 things. And those top 50 things are determined by the net PTI impact. Right? What will give me the biggest revenue in the shortest possible time? That way, foundational capabilities never get prioritization. Or even if they do, because they take longer to build and longer for the value to be realized, it often goes beyond, and you will have an MVP and then it gets shelved. Or you will never be able to innovate it, never be able to take it to the POA. The other thing I would also point out is the siloed organizational structures, which I think I already spoke about. The way the enterprises are set up, and if you are spanning multiple services and offerings, more difficult it is to bring everything together. Okay. As we think about how enterprises need to be set up to deliver a world-class customer experience, there are basically 4 verticals that I can think about. The first one is harnessing the power of data. Now, data is probably the most used term in today's world, but not a lot of people understand what they say when they mean, or when they say what is harnessing the power of data. When you say you are harnessing the power of data, you basically drive insights into that. Another example Nitin pointed out, which was CSAT surveys, right, or NPS scores. These are legacy tools and techniques. Your data needs to be able to give you insights and predict, hey, this customer is going to go away from you, or this customer is going to face an issue. Let's call them up, right? Focus on proactive than reactive. And the only way to do that is, having data at the center of everything. The second, omni-channel experiences, I think I all spoke enough about it. A reliable, consistent, and integrated experience is what almost every customer of today seeks. The tech firms, some of you guys are here representing them, have really spoiled us. We get an integrated experience in other aspects of life. Why will I not expect the same? Third is employee experience. A lot of times, the focus, all the investment within companies are going to customer-facing functions and not a lot to foundational functions. It is important to understand only when your employees are happy will your customers be happy. Right? A key example of that actually is American Express. American Express is rated as one of the top customer experience providers globally for a number of years now. And the reason for that is the Amex CCP base. Our customer care professionals are phenomenal. There was a tweet that went viral a couple of years ago. And the tweet was, talking to an Amex CCP is therapeutic. And I'll tell you why. Because, and I have experienced this myself, when we speak to customers, the idea is not, I don't have a list of things to do and a list of questions and answers. And if the customer asks me any question and answer, I will look up the sheet and say, hey, this is doable, this is not doable. You are basically creating a human bot. That's not how customer service works. And Amex CCP is trained in that. The idea is, hey, think of it as your problem. How do we solve it? What do we do? Right? An example of that actually is, I missed a payment on my Amex credit card. With the RBI regulations, auto debits and everything has gone away. And for credit card industry, it's a big pain because then I am not incentivized to work on credit, to spend on credit cards at all, right? I might miss a payment and all the rewards I've earned for the last year have gone away in any case, right? So with that in mind, I called up a CCP and said, hey, I'm sorry, this has happened a couple of times, but I need my money back. It makes no sense. That person said, hey, I can't do that, but let me figure out how to help you. He called up his manager. He said, sir, this person has excellent credit details, has been a loyal customer, etc., etc., etc. What can we do? They said, okay, let's do 50% of the finance charges will be cut off. I said, okay. Now, first of all, there were tools and solutions available to the CCP to look all of this up and create an opinion about myself. And B, they were empowered to make those decisions, right? The last thing that also happened was this person suggested how you can solve for my auto debit problem. He said, you just need to go to the Dynamics Retail Center and provide a document. I said, I can't do manual details. He said, okay, I'll send that person to your place and let's get it done. Okay, I only have 5 minutes. The last thing, very important thing is culture. Culture is central. This Dynamics CCP example is an example of the culture. The way decisions are taken in the company across organizational levels. Because, right, so there's no one person controlling a company. You have multiple business layers, you have multiple business units, people across all levels. The customer-first mindset has to be baked in all of those decisions to deliver truly wonderful customer experience. Okay, this is something that I think is probably known to all of you. Basically, customer experience has evolved in a way wherein everything is being handled through a platform. And if you think about building a customer experience platform, there are 3 aspects to it. The first is a customer level data lake. Remember the centralized data capability that I talked about, which is basically a one-stop shop, a comprehensive database that is connected across all channels, all solutions, and is available real time. It's on a cloud platform and available real time. Second, are the predict AI tools and solutions, the ML and data science and everything that is basically built on the customer level data lake. So once you have all the data available, you can have the best of the algorithms running on that. And the output of those algorithms need to be showcased to the employee base, which is the actions and insights engine. Wherein, okay, so you have all the data, you have the predictive outcomes, and then you showcase those to the insights. Remember the Amex CCP example? The Amex CCP is basically has access to the action and insights engine. And they say, okay, this person has excellent scores, The customer value is great, I need to help him, right? This integrated ecosystem is critical across channels. And lastly, this is a lot of change to build this, to get the investment, to get prioritization, to get leaders buy-in. A lot of it has to be done. And so at the end of this session, I wanted to spend 2 minutes on how do you jumpstart this transformation, because I actually have been at the forefront of it. I have fought a lot of battles to seek funding for my own product. The first and foremost thing is driving a change in mindset. Everything cannot be a PTI number at the end of the quarter. You cannot do that. You need to come up with creative KPIs to quantify impact, right? Again, it cannot be qualitative. It has to be quantitative. But can we change the KPIs? Can we have that conversation? Second is build cross-functional and horizontal teams. The value of horizontal teams is sometimes lost in today's world just because it's difficult to manage for some people. Horizontal teams bring a lot of value. They understand the American ecosystem completely. When the host introduced me, they called out enterprise digital and data solutions. This is a horizontal function within American Express. We support all lines of business across consumer, commercial, merchants, or even risk, marketing, operations, sales, servicing, everything, right? But the product solutions are central. Okay, last thing, start small. Define something, create an MVP. But designing the MVP is critical so that the MVP is on the path to POA. Oftentimes, MVP are designed and said, okay, we'll come to POA when we come to it. We will never get there. Never. This is fundamental to product development. Okay, all right. Thank you, everyone. I think I'm right at time. Thank you.